Fine, I blame myself. You know what? I don't blame myself. No, not this time, Tony. Excuse me 1 second. How you doing, little Tony? Bad? Why do you feel bad? Because everything's falling apart and I can't do anything about it? It's not your fault. I know it's not my fault, but whose fault is it if it's not my fault? It's their fault. That's right, it's their fault. It's their fault. It's their fault. You have failed, and you will pay. Whoa. What? Pack light, boys. The party's over.
Give this man an Oscar. He was robbed. Absolutely robbed. It's not even fair.
You know who won the Oscar this year? Those Tom Hanks, Forrest Gump.
All right, maybe he wasn't robbed. He should have been in the running at least.
Yeah.
At least. This is episode 70 of the Last Row podcast. My name's Drew, joined across the room by my co-host and friend, Mr. Badway.
Hello.
What's up, Badway? If you're new to the show, our website's thelastrowpodcast.com. We're on Twitter, Facebook. Subscribe on Spotify. Head out to Apple Podcasts. Leave us a 5-star review. Thanks to everybody that left one so far. What's going on, Badway? We're back again for another.
We got heavyweights. Shout out to Kelly for requesting this episode. Heavyweights.
Thanks, Kelly. We finally made it.
1995 comedy / drama / family / Ben Stiller acting clinic.
I snuck that one in there. I gotta sneak it under the carpet there.
Directed by Stephen Brill. You know Stephen Brill wrote all 3 Mighty Ducks movies?
I did not know that.
And I'll tell you how I knew. Besides the fact that I looked it up.
How did you know?
But there's a hint in this movie, which he also wrote. IMDb 6.7 out of 10. Rotten Tomato 29 percentile.
Too low. And 6.7 too low. Excuse me, I forgot to say it.
Jerry not looking for. Okay, before I read the plot, Jerry with a G. Are you a fan of that?
Gary. See, I knew. Gary? So when in my previous movie Insider Business, there was an older, like maybe a retiree, who was named Jerry with a G, but I've never known anyone else with the G. Yeah, I need a J.
There's 2 people at my job currently that have Jerry with a G.
I need a J.
I think it's weird.
Give me the J.
Gary is not looking forward to his summer vacation since he'll be spending it at camp for overweight boys in order to shed the poundage. Fortunately, a kindly couple, the Bushkins, run the camp and make the process fun and relaxed. However, they're soon forced to declare bankruptcy and sell the camp to Tony Perkis, a fitness fanatic who turns the camp into a living nightmare. Over-the-top training, but the kids have a plan to fight back.
It sounds like
rated R.
I would like to see a rated R version of this movie.
No, you don't.
I think I would. I think I would.
No, you don't.
There was a better alternative description on IMDb, so that, you know, when we do these, I pull them from Google, but you got to read the other one because it's kind of like, it's a little bit more cryptic.
Plump kids are lured into joining a posh fat camp with a promise of quick weight loss and good times, only to find the facility is a woodland hellhole run by a psycho ex-fitness instructor.
What is posh about this place?
Nothing is posh. There's no promises of weight loss.
Yeah, none at all.
Yep.
None whatsoever. The 2 taglines for this movie are actually kind of weak too. I'll read the first one because it's the worst one. It says, they don't run the fastest, they don't jump the highest, but they sure are getting the last laugh.
They don't run, period. They don't jump, period.
The other one's better though. It says they never met a hot dog they didn't like until now.
What is those?
The play on words.
Tony
there,
Perkis
buddy.
hot dog? Is that what we're doing?
He's dogging it, man. He's
financials. Drew.
None to speak of. The only one
so you couldn't find the budget?
No, I looked on IMDb. I looked all over the place. Actually, I looked for like 5 minutes, but I didn't care.
Scoured the internet.
But I do know that it made.
I'm gonna say less than $5 million.
No, I know that it made $17.6 million gross USA.
That's not a lot at all, is it?
No, and there are no critic reviews worth mentioning at all whatsoever. So we could just skip right over that too. Let's just jump right into it. The movie opens with Gary Gerald Garner,
Jerry Gerald Jarder,
kind of a bumbling kiddo, right?
A loser.
How would you describe it? I mean, the baseball scene says it all. When
they paint him as a loser in the opening sequence,
trying to throw it over the fence.
Yeah,
and you get introduced to him pretty quickly. And the fact that his dad thinks that he's going to send him to this Camp Hope. His dad wants him to lose weight.
Yeah.
And all I could think of the second I saw this movie was, he's a kid, man. He doesn't look that overweight. He looked fine to me.
He's a lot overweight.
But how old was he? Like
11.
10?
Jerry Garner, age 11, 141 pounds.
He'll grow out of it. Come on, 140.
That's not baby fat, Drew.
He'll grow out of it. Just
that's fat, Drew.
Go ride your bike. You know, I mean, I guess to keep him active.
You think the parents haven't been trying that for the last couple summers there, Drew?
It's true. I mean, he said, I'm going to hang out.
I got plans. I'm going to hang.
When they bring the salesman, I want to talk about the sales pitch for a second. He's in the house. They paint it as this thing where he doesn't want to go. The dad, Jeffrey Tambor, with a mustache, looks completely like a different person.
Yeah.
He's saying, you're going to go, right? If you're the kid, like, it looks like you hear the word fat camp, you don't want to lose weight, you want to hang with your friends in the summer. You don't think it's going to be any fun. They show the video, kind of quickly turned around, didn't he?
Oh, yeah. But forget, they don't want the kid to lose weight. You know the number one reason why parents send their kids to camp?
They want to go to the movies. They want to hang out.
They want to bang in the house.
That's exactly why.
Really what's going on. You want an R-rated movie, R-rated heavyweights? They're going to cut back to Jeffrey Tambor.
Let's go. I don't want to see that.
So I told you didn't want to see it. I told you that.
All I can say is, did the camp counselor, the guy, the salesman for the camp, who came to the house, do you think he was actually trying to sell the promise of weight loss, not fat loss, or weight loss, or was it, hey, let's just get these kids in this camp and let's bring them to a place where they can feel like more empowered and have more self-esteem because the kid was clearly getting picked on in life?
There's two different sales pitches. The previous sale pitch that was just sold to the parents and not the kid is, this is a fat camp. We're gonna get your kid to lose weight. But the videotape is for the kids to say, hey, this place looks fun. I am not going to throw a tantrum, and I will get on the bus, and I will go to this camp.
And it was a plane. It wasn't even just a bus. It was a bus and a plane. He was from Long Island.
Damn, it's like, how much money do you think he spent on this thing, man?
Well, you looked this up before the show, right? What did you say? Like, you looked up weight loss camp? How much was it?
These days, they say they could range anywhere from $200 to $2,000 per week, Drew.
I don't know if I would pay for that. I think you'd pay for a personal trainer.
$13,000 for a summer.
Wouldn't you just pay for a personal trainer instead? And it's like probably a better value.
Yeah,
but you don't get the camaraderie of the camp, I think.
No, you don't get the pal around.
So do you think Jeffrey Tambor was a sucker? Do you think ultimately
suckers bored every minute, Drew?
But do you think that this place actually would try to make them lose weight? You know what I'm talking about with the what was their name? Jerry Stiller, basically he's Ben Stiller's dad.
Yeah, no, I think the camp's a racket.
It was a racket, right?
It's just a racket. Yeah.
And I think you can kind of tell. So he gets on the plane and you get introduced to, let's talk about some of the campers here that are going to this camp.
Now, let me rephrase. It's not a racket. It's a real camp where kids can have fun, right?
Yeah.
It's like your run-of-the-mill summer camp, but it's not a weight loss camp, which was sold to the parents. That's where it's a racket.
What I don't understand is, how do they stay in business? And they clearly don't. But how would you stay in business if you're promising this weight loss miracle, the promise of weight loss?
Yeah.
They're not losing any weight.
Yeah. That's the thing, is that the same kids, the kids seem like they know each other. They've been around for a long time. Jerry's the new kid. He's the one new kid. Everyone else has been there multiple years. Dare to say they've gotten fatter.
Yeah, but if you're the parent, would you send? Is that a good investment?
What did I tell you?
They don't care.
They just want to bang on the kitchen table.
On the kitchen
they just want to bang on the kitchen
don't
table.
Don't they have other kids in their family that are not like quote unquote fat that they're hanging out, or they send them to summer school?
Oh, they're going to a different camp. They're going to music camp, football camp, basketball camp. Yep.
Let's talk about some of the bunkmates, because you got a bunch of people from the Mighty Ducks movies in here.
Oh, yeah.
You got Goldberg, who's the cool kid, Josh.
Dare I say, larger than he was at Mighty Ducks?
He definitely was. And this was a couple years later. 95 this was.
Yeah.
92 was the original Mighty Ducks. What'd you think of him? Because I kind of found him annoying in this.
Oh, yeah, totally annoying.
He was the guy that thought he was awesome, but he really wasn't. He just probably had been the oldest, and he shaved, so people thought he was cool.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, same thing. He was basically Goldberg in this movie, right?
But Goldberg, the difference is in Mighty Ducks, Goldberg was lame, right? and he wasn't cool.
I kind of thought he was cool. He wasn't.
He thought he was cool. But no one else on the team
I guess
did.
everyone thinks he's cool in this one. Yeah.
Right. That's what I mean. Like all the people in this look up to him.
Super confident. Yeah.
You got Keenan Thompson.
Keenan Compson.
You got Keenan Compson. He gets introduced to Gary Gingrich on the plane. He's basically giving him the lowdown of the whole place. Like
he knows everything. He knows everyone. He knows the ins. He knows the outs. He's got it all under control. He's got it all mapped out.
What do you think of him? Do you like him?
Oh yeah, he's a total wise ass. But again, he was a Mighty Ducks too. He's a wise ass.
You got Nicholas, the British kid, all the way from the UK, going to this fat camp. He wasn't that fat.
Did they send him overseas, or does he live in Iowa somewhere?
He lives in Iowa.
Did they send him for overseas?
It's like this camp is
the world renowned.
The world-renowned Camp Hope. They lost so much weight that he's coming from England.
Do they have fat camps in England, or do you think this is just an American problem?
It must be just an American problem. Us gluttonous Americans.
Yeah.
He wasn't very fat at all. Then you had the giant, that guy that was like
oh my
probably
God.
6 foot.
Yeah, Andre the Giant's illegitimate child.
He had the dirt stash too. He had the dirt stash going on. He should have been shaven.
Curly fro going.
He needed to shave.
Oh yeah.
Like freaking Goldberg did not need a
wispy mustache.
Then you get the kid that's not fat kid. He wasn't fat at all. It was the kid with the glasses.
There's this kid who's like totally normal.
He was just didn't look at all overweight.
He looked like me. It's like, he's a little chubby, but he's all right.
You got the little fat kid. I feel bad saying fat kid. I feel like this is politically incorrect.
It's all right. I'm fat, so you're allowed to say it.
You're not.
You're allowed to say it.
This is politically incorrect. So the little kid who was overweight.
No, the little fat kid.
The little fat kid. And then you got the really fat kid.
Yeah. The fat-faced fat kid.
R.I.P. I saw he just died, but of sleep apnea. It wasn't of being overweight, I don't think.
Well, I think maybe at least the other.
I don't know. It was sleep apnea.
That plus the fat equals
R.I.P. man.
Maybe.
Yeah, like in January, because I was looking up where are they now. They did it with the Mighty Ducks, and the guy who plays Gary or Jerry, he is like ripped right now.
Is he like handsome fella?
Yeah, it's like he's got like washboard abs. He was doing some model shoot. I guess the PerkiSystem works.
PerkiSystem works.
But this overweight kid, unfortunately he passed away in January. Then you have well, that's actually the fattest kid, I guess is what we put in the notes. And that's it. But like, talking about politically incorrect, like what is the casting call for this thing?
Yeah, I was wondering that. Like, we casting out to all parents. Is your kid fat? We're gonna put him in this movie where he's in fat camp, right? Like, isn't that awkward?
I don't know how that works. So you think about movies in general, right? Where like somebody plays a gross Tinder date.
Right.
Like somebody got cast as gross Tinder
really
date number
fugly
2.
Date or whatever. Yeah.
However they put it in the credits.
Yeah.
Like I wondered the same thing as I was watching this. Did the kids feel like and they're kids too. It's not like they're adult actors.
Yeah.
Like they got self-esteem.
I'll tell you what though, I feel like in acting, it's nobody cares about that shit.
Yeah, no, they don't.
You're looking for a job, and they know where they're at. Like they know what's up.
Look at Jonah Hill. I mean, he's been fat and skinny 6 times over, right?
Yeah,
he keeps going up and down.
I think actors are like oblivious to this kind of thing. They're not oblivious, but they don't care. What's the word I'm looking for?
Yeah, I get it. They're indifferent to it.
Indifferent, not oblivious. Indifferent.
Well, what is the definition of overweight? Because you got clear, I guess, differences in a lot of these kids.
I guess a parent could send any kid they want to this place, right?
Right.
Even parents with very superficial parents that if you're 5 pounds overweight, my kid needs to go to a weight loss camp. This is ridiculous.
Yeah, I guess you could do
which
that.
I think happened in some of these cases, but not in Jerry's case.
It seems like they've got a good moral support system at Camp Hope, though, because it seems like the original owners were good people. They seem to kind of nurture these kids, give them a nurturing environment.
A little grandma, grandpa type thing going on with Jerry Stiller and the wife.
They have these cool things like go-karts. Yep. They got the blob out there that they can play in the lake. And then you got 3 camp counselors that are pretty supportive.
Yeah.
What do you think of Pat?
Well,
Pat Finley.
Pat has allegedly been coming to this camp for 18 years now, right?
That's quite a long time.
So he's an adult, and I don't know if he started as a child, but the problem is, he's the most overweight person in this entire movie. So again, who are these parents sending their kids to?
I don't know if it was one of those things where you watch Wet Hot American Summer where the kids were in the camp and they became the counselor and all this stuff, right? And I think it was a situation of that. Yeah. I actually have an even deeper theory for you.
Oh.
We just got done watching, a movie where a guy gets in a roller coaster and hits a brick wall and goes back in time. Does it not? The scene when they're sitting next to each other, Pat and Jerry?
Yeah. Oh, I see it.
They look exactly like the same person.
It's like that could be his father.
What if it was his actual
it's
father?
His self.
Jeffrey Tambor looks nothing like him. He went back in time like the Terminator, and he decided that he needed to go to camp so that he could take down Tony Perkis. So he went back in time and he did that because that's what I'm thinking. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Well, the kid, the future self and past self, the one patted the other on the back, so same space, same time.
Yeah, that kind of blows they didn't
up
implode.
So that blows up your time cop. I mean, we could be observing other time travel rules, but not time cop rules.
But the movie did freeze at that time, didn't it? So maybe it ended.
The movie imploded. Did freeze.
It did. We don't know what happened.
No, but you know what my worst fear is that if you watch this movie, and I don't know if you've ever seen a picture of me, your host, Badway, but he has my hair.
No,
he does. My hair is going to look like that in like 5 years.
You were so worried when you were watching the movie.
Yeah, you said the same hair.
You said his hair's thinner.
He's got the
and
pattern
stringy.
bald, is thin and stringy. It's getting bald. I put it to the side.
What is stringy hair? Like, describe stringy hair to me.
It's just so fine and thin. Just so fine.
Like, when I think of stringy hair,
cut something. Like, I could cut myself when I go to like run my hair through. Like, I get like little paper cuts. It's like
when I think of stringy hair, I think of like inadvertent like dreadlocks. Yeah. Like it's like stringy and like it's got like grease in it or something.
It's like like the flimsy like the sixth string on a guitar. It's like it's real tiny. You can, like it breaks all the time. That's my hair.
No, not at all. I'm sitting across the room from it. I can definitely put it.
You can't even see it. There's like barely any left.
Yeah,
like 5.
He's balding over here. He's balding over here, like Statham in Ghost of Mars.
But he's a good guy. He's a good guy. Nice guy. Not the greatest fat camp counselor because he doesn't do the one job you're supposed to do for a weight loss camp, and that's get these kids to lose weight. And he's a bad role model with his body image.
He almost had them killed in a trampling incident when he tried to get them out of the bus and he didn't open the door and he told them, "Oh, get out!" and then he closed the door and everyone got trampled.
Pretty dangerous.
A little bit of a loose cannon here. This Pat, not to be confused with Slim Jim Tim over here, played by Paul Feig of director fame.
I thought he did a good job at this one, actually.
He was great. I remember watching this as a kid, and he was probably one of my favorite actors in the whole movie. I thought he was a great actor.
I thought
good character.
He definitely looked like and acted like a camp counselor.
Yes.
Like your goofy buddy, your pal,
Especially when he gets gluttonous with them. He's like dancing like crazy.
He acts like a kid, and he could be your buddy, for sure.
What'd you think of Nurse Julie?
Nurse Julie. Yeah, everybody had a crush on Nurse Julie, but
would you try to go to the nurse's office?
Yeah, oh yeah, but like the hidden secret is she's the object of everyone's affection because she's quite literally the only female in this movie.
Yeah, I'm surprised that they didn't make
aside from a few mothers and a few girls at the dance.
Yeah, I'm surprised that Perkis didn't make them have a male nurse.
Yeah.
Like, they had Lars was this German counselor.
Right.
I thought they would have some type of like hardcore like European like doctor that would force them to do different medical treatments instead of having this like nice.
No, that's a great idea actually. Yeah.
Like they should have had somebody.
If you want to make this movie 140 minutes, then we should have that.
We could do that.
I'd be fine with it being 140 minutes, but
oh my god! So if you're the parents, right, and you send your kids to this camp, and they come back fatter, you got all these counselors, these role models, right? And originally these were the same counselors. It seems like the nurses knew, but Paul Feig has been there, and so has Pat.
Yep.
It doesn't seem like they're losing weight. Do you think these parents? I mean, it seems like they're sending them back. You think that's a good investment?
It's a terrible investment. Now, obviously, like I said, bang on the couch, in the living room, on the living room floor.
I know.
In the garage, in the kid's bedroom.
That's an absolute violation. Absolute violation.
It used to be their bag room before they had the kid.
This is a bag room? You're inventing new words on this show here. I don't know.
You know Christian Gray's room?
Yeah.
That's going to be the kid's bedroom one day.
They're going to have.
And it's sad.
The butt whippers hanging on the wall.
That will one day be the kid's bedroom. No, but Yeah, obviously, I don't know why these parents send their kids back there. Like, there's got to be more than one, right? I mean, they flew the kids all the way to, what was it, Carolina?
You said they were filmed in North Carolina.
Yeah.
The one kid had a Panther shirt
of Panthers,
on. The other kid had a Falcons.
Yeah.
I assumed it was somewhere
the South, for sure.
Yeah, Southeast.
You would think that they would look up other camps, like these other parents that have sent their kids multiple times. They come back with, larger.
Yeah. And this is the perfect segue because they show up to the camp and Jerry's like, oh, guys, I snuck in some Tootsie Rolls or whatever piece of candy that he had. And then you see kids pulling salamis out of their pants. Like, the one kid, I think it was the British kid? He had straight up like salamis like hidden like strapped to his back.
Yeah, like nunchucks.
Like, what's that about?
Like they're concealing a weapon.
So I want to talk about the hiding spots because these kids, so they're definitely cheating, right? They're cheating in multiple ways. And I'll take a side here in a minute, but they had these hiding spots. Couple were genius, couple were just so obviously stupid and fake. Like the worst one to me was the trunk. That's the first place. I'm looking.
You hide the food in the false bottom under the trunk. It's like it's the first step.
The best one, the absolute best one.
Yeah.
The corner of the bed.
Yeah.
The bedpost.
I mean, it was a genius, but Perkis sniffed that out right away, didn't he? Though
he had like a laser or something. I don't know how that.
He was knocking on and waiting for the hollow point. Now under the bed, that's just ridiculous.
That's
under
stupid.
the bed. But I don't. Do you think they were getting checked on pre-Perkins?
No,
Perkis?
I think they kind of turned a blind eye. They probably knew that it was there. Pat was probably stealing some himself because he knew. Probably these other guys were too.
It's the kind of thing where it's like, you're a Sopranos fan.
Yeah.
Where it's like Tony Soprano's wife, Carmela. It's like she knows he's cheating on her.
Yes.
But just don't rub it in my face,
and
right?
if she doesn't see it, it doesn't happen.
It doesn't happen. Don't rub it in my... I know you're doing this. Just don't rub it in. Don't bring it in my home.
Exactly.
So this is the scenario where I know you're sneaking snacks. Just be cool. How about you try to hide them?
Exactly.
Yeah. Don't put them out in plain sight.
The best spot for him, ultimately, it's not till later in the movie, is the tree stump. And I have I got a great story about this.
Stump.
There's a 1 minute quick story.
No.
There's a guy at my work that would we have these like rolling drawers, and he would put like candy in his drawer.
Yeah.
And we would basically like take it out. So I started calling it the tree stump, and no one knew what I was talking about because no one had seen this movie. So I'm sitting there like talking about, has anyone seen Heavyweights?
Yeah.
And I kept saying like, you got to put your candy in your stump. So he would put all kinds of candy in there. We'd all kind of take from it during the day, like in the movie. We're all like picking out of this drawer. So eventually, I went on Amazon and I bought him a tree stump, like a hollowed out tree stump. It's like a little ottoman type thing.
Cookie jar or what? Like,
no,
what
it's like a sort of like a
so it's like
container.
a decor type. Yeah.
And you take the lid off and it's a tree stump.
Yeah.
So we have that in his desk now, and I was like, he was out on vacation one time, so I loaded it up with all kinds of candy and stuff. So it's fun. It's like a fun little joke.
So if these people don't know about Heavyweights, then I'm glad that you were able to shed the light.
That's what I mean.
Right?
And people don't know about the Oscar-worthy performance of Ben Stiller. They just know White Goodman.
Yeah.
But they don't know what came before it.
Well, you know what? Tom Hanks won Best Actor.
Yeah.
Ben Stiller would have been supporting actor.
He should have won.
So whoever won supporting actor in '95, you get the hell out.
I'm not even joking when I say this. That's a great performance.
All right, I'm going to look it up while we're talking later on. I'm going to find who best supporting actor was in 1995. I got a question before we move on, though.
Yeah, go ahead.
So we talk about why would you send your kids back to this camp, this, that, and the other thing.
Besides the banging,
right, which is obvious. Now, aside from the weight loss thing, I mean, good buddies, right?
Yeah, I mean, friends for
life.
life.
Good times, good buddies, good activities.
It's a good summer.
It's a good summer. Your kid's having a great summer. The self-esteem has risen, right?
Exactly.
So is that worth it? Or let me ask you this. On the flip side, is it false self-esteem? Because no, there should be false self-esteem because, you should be happy with who you are, whether you're tall, skinny, fat, short, whatever. So if you have this self-esteem boost, hang it out with your peers of similar body shape.
Yeah.
And then you go back to school and it's all over again. You're getting picked on. So that's not right. So
it's probably why they keep going back.
Is it worth it is my question.
I think it's worth it personally because I think you have a great summer that's with you for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Like I've never gone to a summer camp.
You always have the summer at Camp Hope.
Yeah. I've never, you ever watched that show Bug Juice on Disney? Remember back in the day, long time ago? That's like the same type of thing. I mean, it wasn't fat camp, but it was, It was summer camp.
Camp Ottawa, we hold you at our heart.
Yeah, sleeve shorts.
Yeah,
great. Like,
sure.
I've never been to summer camp, but I kind of wish I did.
Yeah, me neither.
They have that camp for adults. Do you ever see that?
Oh, it looks great.
It's like all over the East Coast here. I've never been, but I know somebody who went. They said it was awesome.
Yeah, it was
great. But yeah, I think it's worth it. I think it's worth it just for the time for your kid to have a good time.
And maybe that's it. Maybe the parents, they see their kids come back and they're about 5 pounds heavier, but they're just so happy.
Yeah.
Maybe they can't take that from them.
Exactly.
At least they're trying. But again, that's like a couple grand.
It's a lot of money.
Spending a couple grand for the kid to have a good time. You have a good time at home.
Rolling in all that grand is Jerry Stiller or not. So the camp goes out. So I don't understand the timing of this. And this is kind of another perfect segue here. They're paying all this money. Where the hell is this money going? Because it seemed like the first day of camp. Was it the first day of camp?
Yeah.
Jerry Stiller shows up. And he's basically like, sorry, guys, we sold the camp. See you later.
Yeah, see you later. Bye.
And then he makes some comment under his breath, never let anyone sign your checks for you.
Never let another man sign your checks.
What does that mean? What did he do?
He had some shady business partners, from what I imagine.
Like, were they getting bad investments? What was going on with that?
Oh, yeah. Total bad investments. Maybe Terry Silver was involved. I do not know. You know how Terry Silver loves getting back at kids for insignificant slights.
That lake looked a little murky there. A lot of toxic waste in there. No, and this opens the door for Ben Stiller's Tony Perkis.
A new owner. I'm just going to
lead off with this question, and I should have led off in the beginning of the show. We're like 20 minutes deep here. Let me just ask you this: was Tony Perkis evil, or was he just like tragically misunderstood?
You see, I teased this, and I just had this thought as we were putting the episode together, that this dude that wrote this movie also directed it. Now, he wrote it with Judd Apatow.
Yeah.
What is his name? Bill something or other.
Stephen Brill.
Stephen Brill.
Bill
Brill, whatever. He wrote the Mighty Duck movies. Now, what's the one flaw with the Mighty Duck movies is that the kids, they disobey authority.
They're annoying.
They're total whiners. And they are actually wrong, but you think they're right as kids. But as you watch these movies as adults, the kids are actually wrong.
They are.
So in this case, it's more of the same.
It is.
I believe these kids are just entitled. They're overweight. They have no interest in bettering themselves and their health. I mean, it's not even about the physical look.
Yeah.
It's not about the aesthetic.
It's about don't have a heart attack.
It's about don't have a heart attack
15.
By the time you're 15. Jerry Garner,
Gary.
age 11, 141 pounds. All right. I believe Tony Perkis is a little misunderstood. I believe you feel the same way, maybe more strongly so than me.
Listen, there's a slight monetary angle where he kind of has an idea for an infomercial.
Yeah.
I know that he wants to make money, but don't we all?
Yeah, everybody's got to make a buck.
Don't we all want to be millionaires?
That's why he bought the camp, is you want to turn a profit.
Don't we all want to make money off of what we love doing?
Sure.
And, you could really make a case that he loves helping kids.
Yeah.
And he loves helping people get into shape. And he definitely is a tragic figure. He seemed like he had a very rough upbringing.
It's a little far.
His father was the light fixture king of Western Pennsylvania. Man. Is that what, something like that?
Donated every single light in the camp.
In this camp. But let me say this, right? He shows up with a pretty positive attitude in the beginning. Let's not kid ourselves.
Seems like a great guy to me.
He shows up, he tries to give a speech, and they just start making fun of him right away, right? I mean, and kids will be kids.
Yeah.
But this guy's got some low self-esteem himself. If they just listened to him, I feel like this movie would have went a different route.
Right.
Am I right?
You're totally right.
Because I really believe that if they had done anything that he said, it wouldn't have got to the extreme. Maybe he'd have eased him in. Or maybe not. But maybe they could have had a good time and lost some weight. Maybe it wouldn't have been as good of a time as jumping on the blob.
Right.
Maybe. But you know what? Go to the gym is not fun for most people.
Sure.
Working out kind of sucks.
But if you're with your buddies all day,
that's what I'm saying.
Enjoyable.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, nobody said it was going to be fun.
Yeah.
What did Jerry's dad say? I didn't send you to go-kart camp.
See, I feel like this is a situation where both parties were just wrong.
Yes.
The entire movie. where the kids had a horrible attitude about change. It sucks that, their fun time is over. And yeah, Tony shouldn't have destroyed the go-karts and popped the blob. Yeah, that's kind of messed up. How about we ease it into it? You're right, you say there. But at the same time, the kids just from minute one were against this guy and against the prospect of possibly bettering themselves.
I mean, it's like you have a class full of class clowns, or you got a class and maybe there's like one or two clowns.
Yeah.
I felt like the majority of kids at this place were jerks. Yeah. Right. And just like the Mighty Ducks.
Well, the three ringleaders were Jerry, new kid, who's total cocky wise ass, Keenan, who knows everything, thinks he knows it all. And then there's like the godfather of fat kids, Goldberg. I don't even know his real name.
I don't, it doesn't matter. Josh, I believe it is.
Whatever. And he's like, he doesn't want to hear anything anybody has to say. And then the rest of the kids are just like blind followers.
Yeah. I mean, they're the minions, the lackeys.
They have no other like heavy personalities of their own, aside from what these kids tell them to do.
But let's go over it, right? Because Perkis comes out, he gives them the speech, he's trying to make this infomercial, whatever. Put the infomercial aside for a second.
Yeah.
Just listen to what he's saying.
Yeah.
He used to be overweight. He said he was like 300 pounds at age, 11 or 15 or something? Whatever it was, right?
Yeah, whatever it was.
He was overweight. Clearly something worked because he's pretty jacked and ripped in this movie.
Well, yeah, he is. Did he get jacked for this movie, or was he like always jacked at that time?
I never really knew, I guess. Yeah. But he was ripped. Like he was absolutely jacked in this movie. And like not bodybuilder jacked, but just fit.
He's just fit. Yeah.
He was fit, right?
He totally...
Clearly the Perkis system's working.
Yeah.
And, if you saw that, wouldn't that inspire you?
Yeah.
I mean, he wasn't, and let's be real, he wasn't a jerk at first. Even in the thing, they made fun of him.
Even though, he meant to, make sure the cameras were rolling when he had that shit-eating grin on his face the whole time. But, again, like you said, trying to make a buck.
Listen, it's a job. Everybody's got to have one.
But he had a positive attitude. He was not mean until the kids were mean back at him first.
And I felt like it definitely
aside from
spiraled.
The popping of the blob.
But he didn't pop the blob until later.
No, I think did he do it right away?
I don't think so.
Oh, he did.
I don't know. I got to go back and watch it now.
I think he did.
He didn't. I don't know. I don't think it was on purpose. I think it was we got to motivate these kids.
Well,
his motivation techniques were wrong.
He came in with the whole, "This is not the camp you thought it was. I'm gonna fix this place. I'm gonna fix this place. I'm gonna fix you." In so many words.
Well, listen. Sometimes you want to change things, you got to get your hands a little dirty.
Yeah.
And, clearly this was a camp for losing weight and it wasn't working in any way.
He could have had a softer touch, but the bottom line is he didn't care about those kids. And the kids didn't care about his methods. And it was a clash of styles, man. A clash of styles.
He's about results, man. He's about results. And he rolls up in here thinking, this place wasn't getting it done before. I'm going to get it done.
I don't think either of them were worse. Now, maybe we have to go to the tail of the tape and see, both crimes as we get to later on. We'll talk about both parties' crimes and see who actually was worse and who was right, who was wrong.
Let's talk about the Perkis system because there's at least 18 levels of it. That's what we find out as he's getting.
What's level 18?
He's getting level 18 is when he's laying on a bed of nails and he has Lars smash an ice block over his chest with a sledgehammer.
Again, Van Damme levels of ripped this guy is.
He really was. He really was.
Yeah.
He had the tightest clothing of any Ben Stiller movie I've ever seen. He was wearing spandex 99% of the movie.
My favorite outfit of his was after the dance when he came in with the button down
and the high-waisted jeans.
Yeah, high-waisted jeans and the button down with the sleeves rolled up to his biceps. Yeah. He looks so jacked.
He had the tie was about as wide as a bib that you go when you go to like a lobster house.
Yeah.
That's about as wide as that thing was. And he showed up and he had the AC Slater jeans with like the double belt on it.
Like, how would you describe his haircut? Because it's not quite mullet.
It's kind of like a blowout, isn't it? It's kind of like a Jersey Shore blowout without the gel.
Was it a wig?
No,
I think it was his hair.
That was definitely real hair.
If that's his hair, it's so awesome.
It was. You gotta get the look.
It's almost like Ric Flair's hair in a way.
It was actually.
It was like old school Ric Flair's in a slight way.
What do you think of the Perkis system? Because there's 18 levels, but like, what is this thing about? Is it about eating? Because he talks about we're going to lower the calories, we're going to increase the activity.
Yes,
I mean it seems like a fancy name for just exercise and diet.
Right. Yeah. I mean that's really what any diet or weight loss program is. That's the bottom line.
It's not like the South Beach diet or anything.
Right.
Like
every diet is about decreasing calorie intake and upping your activity. Right.
Do you think it's effective? This system.
I don't think it ever got off the ground because step one was that slide thing where they were doing it on the hill, right?
Sideways.
The step. Well, what do they call it? The slider, the stepper.
So this movie was full of so many 90s things. It had it's 95, right? So I'm pretty sure I knew somebody that had that at their house.
Yeah.
That's hard.
It's a pretty common household gym item.
You
back
put
in the 90s.
The slippery socks on over your shoes, and you go side to side.
And you just slide back and forth. But they put it on the hill for the 4 kids. And that was step one. And they were at that point, they were trying it. And those kids were like, F this shit. We're done.
Yeah, we're not
out.
doing this.
We're out.
I mean, he probably hit a little too hard. He should have come in with maybe less aggressive goals. They are automatically up to everybody to
but
10% body weight loss.
In Tony's defense, they were failing, but he was still speaking positively to them.
And he was trying
to motivate them.
He was.
Yeah.
And maybe it's for the cameras.
Yeah.
Maybe it's for the cameras.
Hey, nothing would make him happier if the kids actually did lose the weight.
That's what I'm saying.
It was a success, and it's win-win.
Because if he was successful and they listened, so let's say they didn't do this on the hill and they did it on a flat surface where they could actually do this thing, and they started hiking with Uncle Tony.
Yeah.
I feel like he would have reacted very differently. They came at him hard, man.
He didn't cancel lunch until the hustle was lacking.
Yeah.
So
that's exactly right.
That's the chicken or the egg thing is definitely the hustle was lacking, therefore lunch was taken away.
I've skipped lunch multiple times in my life, and I'm still alive.
You're fine.
Here. I'm here.
Yeah.
I'm alive. And I didn't have to lose 17 pounds like some of them that their goal weight was, right? I mean, skipping meals is never the answer, but let's be serious. Was that a federal crime? Let's be real.
Well, I mean, when kids are involved, you never know.
It's true. Maybe it is a crime to deny a child lunch at a place where you're the responsible. So, how much you think he's planning to sell these tapes? Have you ever seen late night infomercials? Remember, who's the guy with the ponytail? Tony Little?
Yeah. Technique.
You can do it.
Let me tell you. My mom had one of those tapes, right?
Yeah, my dad had the ab thing.
Yeah, and I used to do it.
It was
back
good.
when I was in 7th grade. I used to do it, and it worked.
It does.
Freaking worked.
I like Tony Little.
Yeah,
I like him.
Yeah,
he's pretty legit, and he would always motivate.
And then he came out with a perfect pillow.
Yeah,
it's the same guy.
He has. Do you think his ponytail was real or was it attached to the hat?
Oh, it's attached to the hat. The dude's bald as all hell. Yeah,
it's like
the
Hogan. It's like the Hogan.
Absolutely.
He takes the bandana off and it's literally just a string of hair in the back.
String of hair,
like Terry Bradshaw.
My hair in 10 years. Yeah.
He's got curtain hair in the back. It's a curtain.
I also have Hulk Hogan hair.
No, you don't. You're painting the worst picture. People. No, he definitely does not. How much do you think he's going to sell these tapes for? What was the Tony Little ones going for?
Oh, no 19? CODs. First of all, no CODs.
Checker money order.
Checker money.
1995.
Oh, 1995 is the classic for VHS. 1995 for the first series.
Yeah, that's true.
For the first series,
you got to call.
And there's 5 tapes.
How many tapes is the Perkis If he's got 13 levels.
There's 5 tapes. 2 levels per tape.
But I don't think he's filming this transformation. But what is he actually selling? Is he going to sell a program or is he just selling the footage of what they did?
Yeah, I feel like he has a whole BS regiment of what to do.
Do this.
Yeah. So he's just gonna edit these tapes to show these kids gradually losing weight.
I'll tell you what, man. It's kind of a great business opportunity because you got the tapes, but then if you really want to up the dough, you really want some results, you send your kid to the camp then too.
Yes.
Where they filmed it.
Right.
That's a good business right there. That's what that is.
That's the thing. Do you think he was in this for the long haul as far as the camp goes, or was this a 1-year thing?
No,
if the camp was a success and the infomercial took off, the Perkis camp, you might have been able to open up a couple of them.
Yeah.
Right?
Have a franchise like Globo Gym.
Yeah, franchise them, yeah.
But if I'm being honest completely, I don't even know if he cares about this. I think he just wants to prove his dad proud. His dad is the lighting
So he has daddy
king.
Issues.
Yeah, that's the inherent issue of this entire thing. It's the whole thing.
So Tony's dad also played by
Ben Stiller,
super talented Ben Stiller, and another Oscar-worthy performance. Quite frankly,
call me Papa.
He barely even knows he has a son, so I guess that could really play on Tony's psyche of never doing enough.
He said in the beginning he was stuck with babysitters and all of that. He kind of hinted at it, right? It's before Sam and Stan's Suite. This was dual performance where he should double nomination for best supporting character.
That still doesn't get enough credit.
What does it take to become a camp counselor, to be a participant in the Perkis system? Did they have to go through Perkis system coach training?
So you'd be like Lars?
Yeah, like what did Lars have to do? And was Lars actually in on this, or was he just there to not get deported?
First of all,
they said that
Lars is maybe the best character in the movie outside of Tony.
Definitely.
He was so good.
I have candy.
I feel skinny already.
He's awesome. He was so good.
But yeah, I do believe that Lars it's just a paycheck. He isn't fully committed to the Perkis system. He's a fit guy. It's a job. And I feel like he partially feels bad for the kids, but he knows where his bread is buttered, baby.
Yeah.
You know?
He's getting the paycheck. You gotta fall in line, right?
And I thought it was odd that they didn't really feature another counselor.
They showed a couple, but they didn't
few.
show them.
They were just background, just basically these extras.
Yeah.
And maybe that had to do with the budget, because I imagine the budget for this movie was not very high.
It was literally unknown.
So maybe they just couldn't afford another actor to play a major role in this movie.
It's true. And I guess they had enough trouble juggling Paul Feig, Pat, the nurse, and Lars, and Tony Perkis. There's a lot of people.
Yeah, Tony Perkis is a pretty... He chewed up a lot of screen time, so I guess he didn't have enough room for another character, I suppose.
Do you think there was some type of test for Lars to become a Tony Perkis, like Perkis system counselor?
Did he have to get on the bed of nails?
Yeah, like what are the did he have to pass the 13th level of the Perkis system?
Yeah, he probably had to. You have to pass at least half the levels.
Like, how do you do this? And did he have was it a physical fitness test? Did he have to run miles with Tony? I mean, Tony seems like, the fact that he was riding his bike and he got off his bike and started immediately doing bicep curls, which reminds me of some of the YouTube videos that you see, like people making fun of that.
Yeah.
And then he puts the bike on his shoulder and starts running with it. It's like he's like a true Iron Man. Like, I don't think anyone's fitter.
Yeah, you have to be committed to at least a partial level of his level of fitness. Now, he's obviously a nut, but you got to pass the eye test, first of all. And second of all, you probably have to do a hike with him, a 20-mile hike.
A 20-mile cleansing hike.
That may be extended indefinitely.
Yeah. Well, we kind of debated whether he was bad or not. I want to talk a little bit about the crimes, because we have circumstantial evidence and it's all kind of hearsay of what we think, but let's actually tally what he did, and let's talk about what the camp did, the kids and the counselors, because I think our arguments will become pretty clear when we go and tally this down.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what. How about you run them down and I'll be the judge?
Yeah. Okay.
I will judge who is at fault here. If someone's going to jail, somebody's got to go to jail, Drew.
Yeah.
Is it going to be Perkis, or is it going to be...
Lay a verdict here.
Yeah, or is it going to be all of these kids?
All right, I'm gonna go over Uncle Tony's crimes first. And if there's any that you want to call out, we can do it, and I'll read kind of through them, and then let's talk about a couple of them. So I kind of consider these misguided motivation, personally, but I'll let you be the judge.
That's a pretty way to dress it up there.
I'll let you be the judge.
Motivation.
I'll let you be the judge. So the first one that he really did, I mean, he made them play a softball game against the rival camp.
Oh, man. That's...
motivation.
But I feel like it was just it was misguided.
Yeah.
It was the wrong thing to do, because his intent was to embarrass these kids. I fully believe that, right? When he set up that game. But
what if they were ringers?
Softball can be won by a group of overweight people.
Yeah.
That's not a sport for fit people.
Right. I mean, it's a game of skill.
Yeah.
It's a game of skill.
Right, like bowling.
Right. Like, you don't have to run fast or whatever, right, to be like so crazy fit to play softball.
If you wanted to embarrass them,
you can hit, you can just run.
They could have done like a basketball game, or field hockey, or street hockey, or something like that. Something actually physical.
Even football.
Softball, your fat gut sometimes helps you, because all you have to do, it's not even about bat speed, Drew. It's just about shifting your weight. That softball will fly if you shift your weight correctly when swinging that ball.
Yeah, I mean, and you can catch, you catch.
Yeah, right.
I mean, you're either coordinated or you're not.
A fat guy can catch a fly ball.
I mean,
these kids aren't coordinated. Yeah, we know that.
Exactly.
But he's not going to teach them coordination in 6 weeks, let alone one day.
Baseball was not part of the Perkis system. Right. You know what I mean?
So losing a game of baseball is nothing to be embarrassed about if you just don't know the sport.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
You could be the fittest person and be terrible at hitting the ball.
Yeah.
Like, you could be terrible at it.
Sure.
Right? All right, so that's one. He destroyed the go-karts and poked a hole in the blob.
That's a dick move.
I mean, if you don't have go-karts, you're going to have to walk or you're going to have to run. See, you can't just sit and drive.
A smarter camp counselor who wanted to motivate their kids would leave that as like a carrot at the end of the stick.
That's true.
Hey, buddy, listen, you lose 5 pounds, you get a lap.
Go on the go-karts.
You get a lap of go-karts. Hey, you lose weight this week, you lose 1 pound. You get to fly on the blob.
Yeah. See, this comes back to it, man. I think he was misguided. He thought that would motivate them. It was his
first year.
He didn't know.
There's some bumps in the road.
He didn't know. He's figuring it out.
Doug Peterson didn't win the Super Bowl his first year, Drew.
He's figuring it out. Eagles.
He figured it out the second year.
He didn't go for it in certain situations. Now he knows he's got to go for it. Yeah. He scheduled a dance with the girls' camp, and then he canceled when they had fun.
That was a classic.
Like the second they were having fun, he turned the lights on. And he hid the fruit plates because the insects were out. Yeah. Misguided?
It's kind of mean. But so how was there a way to know the girls were shunning the guys based on their overweightness versus just maybe they just thought they were ugly, maybe they thought that they were lame.
They didn't want. Maybe they didn't want to dance
because they were dressed lamely.
Yeah,
if that's a word.
It was pretty bad.
It might not have been the fat thing. So again, it's kind of where you're just confusing the kids.
That's true.
Not. See, this is an
misguided.
X. This is an X for Tony in my book.
Misguided for me.
I can't excuse this one.
He made them go on a 20-mile hike, cleansing hike.
This is dangerous.
And
this is dangerous.
Pretty bad.
This is hazardous to their health.
And then when they kind of did well, he was really proud. So he extended it.
Yeah,
but he was happy.
Again, that's misguided.
He was happy.
He was actually very supportive when he was super pumped that and there were no cameras on this hike, by the way.
That's true.
There were no infomercial cameras. So he was genuinely excited when they did well on this hike.
Yes. The beginning, he was a little let this kid behind. He's a straggler. We got to cut him loose.
What did he say? He said, stragglers have to find their own way.
They have to find their own way to fend for themselves.
For themselves.
Look, he's teaching life lessons here. He's teaching life lessons. But he got to the top, and he was so happy for him.
Yeah.
And then when they asked him to do a maneuver, I bet you can't do a sit-up, and they were literally going to teabag him or whatever it was. He was happy to show him.
Yeah, he was like,
he seemed excited.
I'm gonna show you. This is what you could do one day.
He just needs friends, man.
Yeah,
he just needs friends.
That one's on both because you should never have made them do a 20-mile hike because it's very dangerous.
It is.
But on the other hand, don't definitely extend it.
I like how when they left for the hike, he said, "We're gonna go on a 20-mile hike, and we're not gonna come back until all of your goals have been met." Like they were gonna lose 17 pounds on the hike. It was literally
so pack light.
That was the hike. It was gonna help them, and they're gonna come back and they're gonna meet the goals.
I'm gonna be honest, Drew. If you take me on a 20-mile hike,
probably pass out.
I'll probably die.
Me too.
Yeah.
I mean, I like hiking, but it was challenging. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
He canceled lunch one time due to lack of hustle.
Well, if you go to the footage, at the when they find the hidden footage and they edit it together, he canceled more than one lunch.
Listen, I saw at the end when he said they did some doctoring to the tape.
Yeah.
They had some classic editing techniques.
You think it's funny? How about this? No dinner, no lunch, no breakfast.
Yeah. But did he really say that? What if they cut it all together?
Yeah, he could have.
I don't know.
Could have been shady editing. Yep.
He yelled at them, so that's kind of bad. It was emotional abuse. But, again,
that works for some
misguided.
people. Negative reinforcement works on some people.
Misguided, maybe. Yeah. Not the best motivation, but again, it's his first year. He's learning. He's slowly learning.
Now he'll know what not to do.
He kept their letters, but was it a federal offense?
I'm not sure if that's a crime or not.
They weren't mailed yet.
No.
If he took them from the mailbox after they had been submitted, then maybe that's a crime.
I don't think you are required to allow outgoing mail to minors, right?
I don't know.
They let him make phone calls.
Yeah, I mean, and they made phone calls.
So there's contact the outside world. It's not like they're being held prisoner and there's no outside communication.
Yeah.
Right?
They definitely had some type of communication. And then the last crime is he made them eat healthy and exercise.
I can't allow that.
You can't allow it.
Can't allow that.
I mean, he's trying.
I feel like
he's trying.
They missed an opportunity in this movie, and maybe it's like a deleted scene that they just never showed. They never really showed a sample dinner.
No, they didn't. They did. They showed it. It was slop.
What was it? Was it slop?
It looked like, beans. It was looked like simple proteins,
complex. Slop isn't good for you though. I imagine they should have shown people with plates and there's one little leaf of lettuce or something.
They could have just put a whole thing of broccoli on there, put a piece of chicken breast. Yeah. That's healthy, right there.
I think it was a missed opportunity at jokes where it's every dinner. They show a quick cut of dinner and it's
a grape.
It's one grape or one carrot.
That would have been good.
Yeah. So radish.
That's basically his crimes, right? So let me go over theirs. I'll go over the kids quick. So I was going to go over these. You tell me what you think. We'll compare them. Insubordination, clear insubordination.
I hate insubordination.
Lack of hustle.
I hate lack of hustle.
Cheating. They ate candy and junk food after they had a personal mission not to. Burglary, breaking and entering. They vandalized his property.
They burgled his property.
They teabagged him. Goldberg did, or whatever.
Sexual assault.
Literally farted in his face. A kidnapping. They kidnapped him and tied him up.
And electrocuted him.
Literal electrocution too.
Yeah. And
then they assaulted him. I think, come on now.
Yeah.
Okay, let's be honest.
I gotta be honest. See, I'm gonna go with number one here, insubordination.
Yeah.
That was from the get-go.
Yeah.
That was from his opening speech. They were insubordinate. So
they had no interest in
everything else that followed was a direct result of their insubordination.
Do you think that Josh was the ringleader on this?
And their lack of hustle.
Yeah, because they didn't try once.
Yeah.
Maybe the baseball game, you could say they tried. That probably backfired.
Yeah, they tried
back on it. Looking back on it.
But you got to have a little pride, right? If you got a team telling you that you suck, you got to try.
I mean, Camp MVP sucks.
Yeah.
They're D-bags anyway.
That's a whole other story.
That's a whole other story. But I'm not sure that Perkis was so bad in the beginning, man. Maybe he went a little villainous route, but I can't blame him. Can you?
See, I'm going to have to rule in favor of Perkis.
Me too.
Yeah. The kids did so much worse. They committed actual crimes. And the adult counselors that were from the original camp, they were implicit in these crimes.
That's the thing, man. We need to talk a little bit about the actual assault and the kidnapping.
Yeah.
Because Paul Feig said he had this lawyer friend and he was going to call him up and he said, you're going to figure this out. The nurse was clearly upset because they were skipping meals and all of this stuff. And she was worried about the well-being
mental
of the
abuse,
children.
the verbal abuse.
And she's a nurse, so she's got to worry about their health, emotional and physical. So she's clearly tweaked by this. So Paul Feig says, I got this lawyer. I'm going to call him up. The jury comes back and basically says that they got no hard evidence. And then they find the camera guy and they figure that they're going to doctor together this tape, which leads Perkis to getting figured out.
Because Tony Perkis owes the camera guy $600.
Yeah, which I feel like should be getting paid more than that, don't you think?
Well, it might have been just for 2 weeks of
even still.
That's he's
going to do the editing.
It's true.
That's a weak fee right there.
Yeah, this guy's an amateur. He needs to know his worth.
But I guess he's broke, so he doesn't know. He doesn't know. But I really got to rule in favor of him. But clearly they didn't have enough evidence, so they doctored this tape together to really prove that he was this villain.
Right, because Parents' Day was coming, right?
Which the balls on these people, the absolute stones on these people.
The cojones.
To capture this man, tie him up, electrocute him while there's other adults on the property. These adults, they were like, oh, we're going to go get this guy. We're going to send the tape in. And the kids kidnapped him anyway. So then they're like, oh, I guess we got to go with it. I don't know, man. I think their plan was just way too far-fetched. And
first of all,
it's a crime.
Yeah.
Literally.
What is it? The counselor's name's Pat? Pat. He's got to go to jail. Because he was implicit in this kidnapping.
He definitely
could have stopped it, encouraged it.
Yeah.
For what? Because he didn't like the way Tony Perkis was running a camp. Now the kids kidnap him. It's almost cute.
He tried
if
to let
it wasn't
him out.
illegal.
He tried to let him out, and then Tony told him, I'm going to make sure you basically never work here again. Yeah. And then the guy was like, whatever, screw you. I'm going to make sure I'm going to keep this going. Just seemed like a lame excuse and a literal crime.
Yeah.
Jail City.
Right. I gotta side with Tony Perkis on this, honestly. He made a lot of mistakes, and he's got a lot to learn. Year 2 of the Perkis camp would have been so much better. I think he would have done better. I think the kids would have done better.
Just give him a chance.
Yeah. He needed an eye-opener. And now, maybe if they kidnapped him, right? and they let him out and he learned something, this could have been a feel-good movie. They could have redeemed the moral standing of everyone in this movie.
He just needed some love, man.
But as it turns out, nobody was redeemed at the end of this movie, Drew.
No.
And it's a Disney movie.
I don't know, man. Could he press charges? Do you think he could? Or do you think they would cancel each other out because of the things that he did?
I think they cancel each other. I think they all need to get together and say, listen,
penalties.
You've done some things. I've done some things.
Yeah.
This reminds me of like Blank Check, where like Preston learned a lesson, but he also still stole $1 million.
It's true.
And it wasn't that guy's, it wasn't the bad guy's $1 million either. So it's like no one wins. It's like everyone's bad. And I feel like we have this ugly precedence with 90s Disney movies, Drew.
Yeah, I feel like, I just asked you this now because I was going to ask it at the end, but can they make a movie like this anymore? I don't think they can. And they won't.
Well, I don't think you can make a movie about weight loss camp just because
it's a sensitive topic.
Sensitive topic, everybody's got to be all inclusive, and I agree, but I guess you could say it was a simpler time.
It was a simpler time. Back in my day.
Doesn't make it right, but it's the way we were.
I mean, we got a couple loose threads here. Let's just wrap them up because we're at the end here. But, he gets figured out on Parents' Day. Jeffrey Tambor punches him in the face. He could probably sue him for that, too. Another assault.
All he did was walk at him on glass.
On glass, which I was just going to say, did that prove that he was crazy or what? Like, he completely lost it. But wouldn't you feel that crazy after someone locked you up for a couple of days and gave you nothing to eat?
So I guess the proof that Perkis is crazy only proves that he shouldn't be supervising these children.
Yes.
But that's not necessarily a crime. It's just a fact that you find out.
Yeah.
And you remove him from the situation.
You know the movies where they take like Mrs. Doubtfire and cut it into a horror movie?
Yeah.
I feel like this movie took a good personal trainer and cut it into a horror movie where he didn't actually mean to be so mean.
I mean, he was clearly unstable. But
he was pretty bad.
If the kids would have just done what he asked, it would have been fine.
Yeah.
Or do you? Okay, let me pose this to you, and I'll answer this truthfully, Drew.
All right.
Say the kids really did give it their all, right? They really tried, and they just couldn't do it. They weren't even cheating, right? No cheating. They just weren't losing the weight, Drew. It's just they've got a lot of mass, and it's going to take time.
Yeah.
Not in the summer are they going to be able to hit their goals. Do you think Tony flips out on them? And do you think he makes their lives a living hell, even though they're trying hard?
I think he'd be mad because the tape's not going to sell, but I don't think he was somebody that would criticize effort. He criticizes a lack of effort.
Yeah.
And he even says that. Like when they went on the hike, he was proud of them, right?
It's true.
So clearly they did the hike and that was fine.
So if they went from day 1 to day, I don't know, 60. We got 3 months of summer.
And they lose like 2 pounds.
And they lost like 2 pounds. And the goal was 17.
I think
Is he flipping out? Is he furious? Is he berating them?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I think he'd be mad, but I don't think he'd be mad at himself. Like I failed them because my system didn't work. Not they didn't try because they did everything he said. If they did it, maybe
I feel like he would just call them losers and say, "This is not my fault. It's their fault."
He might. I mean, he kind of. This is not your fault. This is.
But they weren't trying, which made him flip. I don't know.
That's what I mean. Since they tried, I think he would be a little bit more lenient.
You think he would be? Right.
I do.
I don't think so.
There's a couple other things in here.
But we don't know that because they never tried.
They didn't try, so there's no way to know, right? There's a couple other things in the movie. The Apache relay, we don't need to talk about it, but I don't think that they would have won that.
The only way they would have possibly won that is if there's a time limit on some of the events. Like the part where the kid had to climb the wall, that shit wasn't happening.
He couldn't take 2 feet off the ground.
So there had to be like a maximum time limit where you just get to pass it. And the same thing with the MVP kid and the 5 vice presidents.
Academic decathlon.
Never would have figured that out. Drew, not besides the last 2 vice presidents, name me 5 vice presidents.
I can't do it.
Can't do it, can you?
I mean, I probably could if I think about it for a minute.
I can't. I'm going to tell you right now, I can't.
I'll do some editing here and name them. I'm just kidding.
Dan Quayle.
No, I probably could do it. I just have to think about it.
Al Gore.
Yeah, right.
That's it. That's all I got.
Oh, man. They let Jerry drive the go-kart, and he had only driven a go-kart before when Pat pushed him. I don't think he'd win that race.
By the way, That is a totally illegal go-kart. Yeah. Add that to the list of crimes, Drew. That's not street legal.
You had a fan on there. It's like adding NOS to your car in Fast and the Furious. Totally.
I don't think that kid would have won that race. He doesn't know how to drive that car.
And that other kid ran him off the road. I think he'd have just flipped over and be done.
Yeah.
He'd be smoking on the side of the road there.
One thing I didn't get at the end of the movie is when they won the trophy for the MVP race and they threw it in the lake. Like,
they didn't care.
I didn't get that. Like, I know they didn't care. They just wanted to shove it in their faces that they won. But I don't know, like, throw it in the lake. Why did they keep it? Like, it wouldn't be prideful to keep it? Like, screw you, we beat you.
I agree with you, but Pat's whole thing was they didn't care about the trophy. They just wanted to prove to themselves that they could do it.
Yeah.
What I didn't get was Camp ABP saying we're going to file a grievance. Against what? Was it because of the illegal go-kart or what?
I had to have been.
Because they didn't say.
Yeah.
He was just, we're going to file a formal complaint.
Yeah, that go-kart's not legal.
He never said what it was. But my guess was it had to be that, right? I mean, it had to be.
Yeah. They had to have cheated.
Another camp movie that we didn't really talk about was Camp Nowhere. Have you ever seen that movie?
I have, but I just don't recall much about it.
It's got Doc Brown in it. He's like a similar situation to Pat where he's actually the guy that they just pay to be their counselor, but he doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
Completely, you could argue his crimes are worse than Tony Perkis's because he didn't even try to do anything. But that movie always like had a weird place where, the two kind of come out at the same time. You got Volcano and Dante's Peak. You got Camp Nowhere and you got Heavyweights.
You got Deep Impact and you have Armageddon.
I think the two camp movies that came out, I like that movie a lot. It's never on, but it was on HBO Go recently. And that one holds up pretty good.
Did it hold up?
It does. Yeah. This is a better movie, but that one's surprisingly better than I imagined that it would be. How does this one hold up for you?
Yeah, I probably hadn't seen this movie since at least 10 years. At least 10 years, right? Until we saw it this past time. I thought it was great. I was entertained from start to finish. And it was legit funny. It wasn't cheap laughs, kids movie funny. Like there was some of that. I mean, there were some fart jokes in there or whatever. But I thought there was a lot of smart humor in here, and it really did hold my attention.
The Tony Perkis character is, I know it's Ben Stiller and he's famous, but I feel like whether he was in it or not, like that character will always be such an iconic character, whether it was Ben Stiller or whoever, right?
Yeah.
And the way that he played him, and I know he kind of morphed into White Goodman in the future with Dodgeball.
Right.
But, for the people that I was saying before that hadn't seen this, like you have to watch this movie. It's an iconic performance by Ben Stiller.
And it's definitely a bonus to people who had seen this movie and then Dodgeball came out, because as soon as you saw White Goodman on the screen, you're like, that's Tony Perkis.
It's absolutely him.
And you're not mad. It's not a ripoff or anything like that. It's like it's a morphing of the character, but it's like a good little Easter egg to where, like, I know where the origins of this character came from, and it's definitely the same type of guy.
And by and large, he hadn't done much before this. He was in the sketch show, the Ben Stiller show, and he was in a couple other things.
Reality
I
Bites.
think like right after this, he plays Stam and Stan Sweet.
Yeah.
Stan and Stan Sweet.
He directed Cable Guy.
Yeah, so he did that next, I think, because Cable Guy was like 96, 97.
Yeah.
So it's right around the same time.
Yeah.
But, this movie maybe is why I always have a special place for Ben Stiller, and I've always liked him, probably because I saw this growing up, and he's really one of the funniest and best characters I think that he's played in his career in this movie.
Oh, yeah.
It just so happens to be in the beginning.
It's a great character. It's like all time. I feel like all time, like kooky sketch style characters. Like this is an all time character.
I mean, you mentioned the scene where he's walking on the glass. Like that, I was laughing. I was like rolling on the floor here.
Yeah.
That's how hard I was laughing at that. It's stupidly funny. Yeah. What do you think it was like to work with him on this movie as the kids? Like,
it was.
Do you think he method acted?
It's got to be difficult, and I feel like he ad-libbed a lot of lines too.
Yeah. Do you think the kids were scared of him? Do you think he was having fun with it?
Oh, it was probably a blast. No scary at all. I feel like with him yelling at you, like it must be hard to not to keep straight face, right?
Yeah.
So as far as a rating goes, I know we do ratings, or the ratings that mean nothing, So I mean, I'm going to start off giving the movie 9 based on nostalgia, and then I'm going to subtract it a few points because what I realized that both sides of the coin were morally bankrupt, and there are no winners; there are only losers in this movie. So I bumped it down to an 8.5.
I'm going to 10 out of 10 because
10 out of 10.
This is the first set. No, I'm joking. I'll go 9.2 because I'm doing minus 0.8 because the kids were wrong. and Tony Perkis was right.
Yeah, and the public just doesn't know.
And the public doesn't know, and I feel like I need to start a campaign.
Not that they don't know, they don't care.
Tony Perkis was right.
Yeah.
I'm saying 9.2. But no, seriously, this movie is awesome.
The movie rocks, yeah.
You should absolutely watch it.
So we got some Facebook action. I gotta love a little Facebook action.
Yeah, you can leave us a review on Facebook, facebook.com/thelastRowPod instead of Apple iTunes or whatever if you don't have Apple iTunes.
Yeah, what he said. Facebook review from Chris Brown, not that Chris Brown. The other Chris Brown.
The other Chris Brown.
The one that loves our show. He writes, discovered the podcast on Spotify a few weeks ago. Oh, you can find us on Spotify.
Spotify.com. Search for The Last Row Podcast.
Last Row Podcast. Pretty good podcast. I'm not sure how many times I've replayed their discussion on Mortal Kombat Annihilation. For real. Melina died getting kicked in the face. Now, for those of you who haven't heard a Mortal Kombat Annihilation episode, listen after dark.
Yeah, it's
because
it gets a little
steamy. Loving the back and forth with these two. Great chemistry between the guys. I've been having one hell of a time going back through the back catalog. 5 stars.
Thanks, Chris.
Too low.
Too low. 5 stars too low. Thanks, Chris.
Thanks, Chris.
If you want to leave us a Facebook review, facebook.com/thelastRowPod. We are on Twitter @thelastRowPod. Leave us a Apple Podcasts review. 5 stars. Too low. If you have an Apple Podcast account and you haven't left us one, thanks to everybody that left one so far.
I don't think I ever left one.
Did you?
Do I have an Apple Pod? I don't know. I don't do Apple.
You're an Android guy.
Android guy.
Our website is thelastrowpodcast.com. You can send us email, thelastrowpodcast@gmail.com. Send us your movie suggestions. Send us what you think about Heavyweights. Are we too much on Tony Perkis' side? I want to know what you think, because maybe we took too hot of a take today.
I think you went a little too far. I kind of played it down the middle.
You played it down the middle?
I think you're a little ridiculous, to be honest.
And as I mentioned a couple weeks ago, we're on an every other week release schedule. So you'll get a show this week. We'll be off next week. And you'll get a new show the following week. Go to our Facebook page. Go to our Twitter page. We'll announce the next movie on there. And we'll see you guys in about 2 weeks.
Only if they hustle will they get a new episode. Lack of hustle means no episode.
Next week's episode is canceled due to lack of hustle.
See ya!
Oh, yes! Oh, that was wonderful! Woo! So entertaining! The cinematography, the editing techniques. Though I must say, the villain was a bit over the top.